Hey guys, on this week's episode, we're going to talk about our first job, first game experience that's changed our life, and skills we want to learn or have learned in our jobs. And of course, Fat Boy Corner's in there too, so stay tuned and listen up. This is just Welcome to episode 3.
What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
I don't know how I'm gonna edit that.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh god. Oh, I just completely rammed my mic there.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So, how was your Friday, boys?
Very uneventful. Very
Yeah?
very uneventful.
Adam?
I
How was
had to
work?
do a deep clean of the beer distributor because somebody with coronavirus came in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't hear about this. So, so yesterday, somebody we know who is friends with Tyler's girlfriend and works with her came into the beer distributor. I know
Okay.
who he is. He went to high school with us. I'm not going to say his name over here. Well, his or her name on this, but came in, got a call later that night that his mom's test came back positive for corona.
Okay.
He lives with his mother and has been in the house with his mother. So there's a very high chance
That he had
that
it.
he also has it. Yeah,
Oh boy.
but yeah, so I was exposed.
Nice. The shield didn't protect you after all, did it?
No,
What is a sneeze shield actually gonna do for you though? Like,
unless you're over 6 feet tall, that doesn't even cover you. Like people come in and it goes to like here.
We
jeez.
do have some small people around here, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh well.
So. Alright, boys. Tonight, we're going to talk about first. So, my first question for you guys is, we all play video games, so I want to know what the first game you had that you ever played that started your career.
Ooh, first
Oh,
game
Yep, first
that we
game.
okay. So that we had or that we played.
Well, that you played, because I'm like mine. I didn't own it. Obviously, it was my dad's, but I played it a shitload. So
Okay. So I remember going over to my grandma's house, and I played. My uncle, he's only about 10 years older than me, so
Yeah.
he was still a little kid when I was born, and when I was like 5, he was like 15.
okay,
They had a Super NES, Super
Okay.
Nintendo, or whatever you want to call it, and I remember playing like some of the Mario games on that
okay,
a lot with them and just screwing around, just not
Yeah.
even, being a little 4-year-old with a, oh man, look at this, I can play a game. So that's what I remember playing first, I guess.
okay.
The first time I really, really played a game, my uncle, a different uncle, had an old computer from his work that they didn't want anymore, and he took home and, did some stuff to it, made it a little better. And it was just a old 1990s style computer.
Okay.
And this maybe was when I was 10, and we had like Roller Coaster Tycoon on it. Man, but a bunch of other just like, those old, you got to put a CD in to still play it, even though it's downloaded, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
We had a bunch of
Yeah.
those kind of games as young kids-ish. We never really had any consoles as kids until I was about 12 or 13. We got the original Xbox.
Okay.
My brother and I got that as a gift for maybe Christmas one year or something like that.
Okay.
someone in the family, I don't even remember who, got it for us, and we played that non-stop. We had so many games for the original Xbox, it wasn't even funny.
Okay.
But the one that stuck with me the most was playing Halo and then Halo 2.
Okay.
Those were like the first two games that we owned that we played so much. I remember my brother and I, we would sit down and we would literally, it was like non-stop. It was like we'd come home and we'd play Halo 2 repeated like through the campaign over and over and over and over.
Okay.
Just because we didn't have internet until I was like 16 or something, or 15 maybe.
Okay.
So we didn't have Xbox Live, we didn't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what I remember playing a lot as a kid.
Okay.
And even before that, we had rented back when there were video stores and stuff.
You mean Blockbuster? That's showing your
Not
age, old
yeah.
man.
Well, yeah, I'm old. Leave me alone. There was one down the road here. I actually live a couple houses down from where the building used to be. There was a little movie store, and they rented out an Xbox and rented out games for it. And I remember playing, like, we would rent them, and we'd only rent like one game at a time for like a week, and we played that all the time. Like one time, they actually had an old steering wheel set up, and
Okay.
my dad thought he was a big shot, and he came in and he got us rented us a NASCAR game. So he was on the steering wheel playing like that, and we were on the controllers playing, and that was like one of the first like real memories of having a console in the house that I have. Like he was playing with us, and we were doing, he beat us every time because driving games are so much easier with a steering wheel.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, so those are some of the first memories I have of, an actual, having games or anything at all. So, the old computer, the Super NES, and, an old Xbox.
Okay.
Adam?
Oh. Technically, like, the first video game I ever played was on one of those, like, plug-and-play little controllers that you would, like, the yellow and white cords that you would plug into the TV.
Yeah.
And it had, like, games on it. I want to say, I think it was a Namco one. It had Namco games on it, but I don't know if all the games were Namco. It had, like, the racing game, which I can't remember, but I remember it was the one where you had to twist the...
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like the classic racing one. It had, like, Mappy, loved Mappy, Dig Dug. Oh, Dig Dug was great.
Dig Dug.
Galaga, obviously, is, like,
I
classic.
had Dig Dug on, or maybe something very similar. I had that on the original Game Boy.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Dig Dug is fun. I still remember that game. It had that game called Xavius or something.
Okay, yep.
XEV,
Yep.
Whatever that. I don't know how you.
It's something along those
that.
lines, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it had cartridges so you could get like bonus games with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it came with it. I just remember there were cartridges that were like, you put it in and it was like, oh, a secret menu, and it was like,
here's 15 more games.
They got Business Pac-Man. Yeah, it's like,
we had one of those too. We had one, and
they're fun.
Yeah, it was literally, it was like a mini Pac-Man, like arcade booth.
Okay.
And it had, like Dig Dug and Space Invaders and all those sorts of games on there.
Oh yeah.
And it only had like 15 of those games or 20 of those games, but it was great.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I played that for hours. First game though, also ironically, was probably Halo 3.
Okay.
I mean, I was very behind on the whole console thing, like, because I hadn't owned a console myself until I was 19.
Oh wow.
So like I never had any experience with like 18 or 19. I mean, when would that have been, Eddie? Because
That's just a couple
like, the
years
first
ago.
people I got on live with.
Yeah, I think you would have been 18. I think it was right after you graduated high school.
Yeah, I was a little bit after that. Yeah. But, somewhere in there, 18, 19, it wasn't like I was, like where everybody usually is on that jumping off point. I was a very Nintendo oriented. Like, first actual console being like PlayStation. I guess I had like a Wii, but would you call that like a real console in the like super gaming industry?
Yeah, I would say so. It's Nintendo. They're still one of the biggest people out there.
I said that wrong. Oh yeah, So, but Wii was like where I was. Wii, and then the Wii U, and that kind of stuff.
So
and
you're in the
first
same...
time I really ever got into like live and stuff.
Okay.
18.
Okay.
What about you, Eddie? What's your gaming life been?
Well, I remember back when I was young, my dad bought a Nintendo 64, and he had a couple games for it, and he played a lot. And like, I remember playing all the Donkey Kong, the newest Donkey Kong game, Super Mario Brothers, and then the one I really remember, I just forgot it. Kirby was Kirby, the little pink puffball. That one I played a lot, and then I stopped playing 64 just because I just kind of fell out with it, and then I went over to my buddy Darren's. I would say I was probably about 11, maybe 12, and he had a PS2, and we played PS2 there, and he was getting a new one. His mom had already bought it, so I bought his old one, like the big brick ones, the ones that are like that thick.
Yeah.
I bought it for $50 with my birthday money. And I rocked the PS2 for a while, and then we got an Xbox somehow. I don't remember how we got an Xbox. And I remember playing a couple games with that. We actually took the X on what was it called? A band trip.
Okay.
We took it to New York. We played Injustice in the
Oh my
room.
gosh!
So,
I remember that.
Yeah,
someone forgot their chair there. The chair from their room was in our room, and it caused like this whole freak out thing. That was the best.
But the game that probably started my like gaming career was probably Borderlands, the original Borderlands.
Okay.
I mean, that was the one I remember coming home from school, hopping on with William, my little brother, and playing co-op, same console, split screen style. I think that's what like really launched me into the place I am now with it. So.
Right. So I think we've all had like 3 different phases of this. Like you're really cheap, what your parents got you to subside you from getting the expensive thing. Then it's like that first console where it's like, oh man, this is awesome. And now it's like we're all up here at this like, yeah, we play all these different games and have a ball with it all.
Oh, you know what? That's a lie. The game that got me into gaming was Guitar Hero.
Oh,
my mom bought me Guitar Hero for Christmas. I think I was 12.
Okay.
And I remember just playing the absolute shit, and it was that's what got me into gaming.
Man,
I fell way behind on that train too.
Yeah, I remember going over to what was that, Adam?
I didn't play Guitar Hero until like 6th grade.
Oh man. I remember going over to a couple of friends' house, and they had the first 2 Guitar Heroes for PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And man, that was a time we'd stay up all night long trying to beat, what is it? Devil Went Down to Georgia. On one of them, I think it's 2. That's the final boss song, and we're all sitting there on expert trying to beat this thing, and it's someone plays it 3 times and then they mess up and you lose, and then the next person goes, and it's just.
Yeah, I was dog shit at it. I never got the expert. I think hard was the highest I went. My fingers weren't coordinated enough to get down to that bottom button. So, and mine was Guitar Hero 3. I remember that specifically because Through Fire and the Flames was the finale.
Oh my god!
My lord, was that ridiculous?
Oh yeah. Anything by what's their name? Dragon something?
Yeah.
I don't remember it. Dragon something. It's in here somewhere, but I don't know.
I'm shooting
where it is.
random.
Yeah, someone. If you know the name of that. I'm probably gonna put it on the screen anyway, but
Come on up. Come on.
Put it in the comments.
Sorry, Stanley's being an asshole right now. There you go, buddy.
hey,
Oh, there.
there's a cat.
Say hi to everybody. Don't sniff and stuff. That's... Anyways, so we've talked about what games have impact that you started off with, but are there any games that like really hit home for you, like something that like changed you?
Like changed the way I felt about gaming.
About gaming, about life. I mean, because like not only does music have this effect on some people, I know some people have that effect with games itself. So,
Yeah.
buddy,
The game that's changed me. I
sit
don't know.
there.
You go ahead and start this one off, Adam, because I don't have one on the top of my head.
Okay. First thing that comes to mind. Fallout 4. Freaking changed my whole life. And still to this day. I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, Fallout 3 is better, New Vegas. I don't care. I played Fallout 4 first because I'm a rebel, and it was, like, incredible to me. It was, like, everything I ever needed, and I didn't know I needed. It got me into, like, apocalyptic, like, vibe stuff, like the whole, like, distressed-looking art. Like, I just love that. The whole weird 80s vibe, but in the future, like, with the Nuka-Cola. Oh, my gosh. It was, like... I played it, like... at least 20, 30 hours of it at Eddie's house because they were the ones who introduced it to me. And I would just spend the night, and I would just stay up the entire night. And I remember one morning, Eddie woke up to leave for work, and I was holding the controller, like, running, but I was asleep.
He was just
And he was
out.
like, hey. And I was like, I was like, yeah. I'm at the new place. But and then I got it for myself. That was the reason I initially bought a PlayStation, was I wanted to play through that myself. That game changed like everything for me. Zelda, any of the Zelda games, the early on ones, the like what are they? The Zelda
Ocarina of Time
there's
is
one with
one.
a train. Well, oh yeah, definitely Ocarina of Time. There's one with a train that I can't remember.
I don't know Zelda very well.
Neither do I.
You're on your own here, Adam.
You got, if you know Zelda, there's one with the train that was like for Nintendo DS that I played a lot. There's one, there's the oh wow, Skyward Sword was insane. Twilight Princess is probably one of my favorites. Ocarina, what is the wind one? Wind Waker. That was amazing. That was one of the first games I ever played, and also something that just any of the Zelda games were great. But Fallout was like. Oh,
Game
Fallout
changer for
pushed
you.
me very hard to be a gamer. Yeah, and a lot of people didn't like that game, but that was like, you gotta understand, if you're going from like Nintendo your whole life, and then you just are like, hey, you should try Fallout, and it's like, what? Oh,
This is
just
gaming?
mind-blowing to me.
What?
Oh my gosh, there's more to it than just like cool little challenges. Like, there's a story in
Nintendogs?
a world. Yeah, it's like mind-blowing. This is better than Mario at the Olympics.
God. Oh man. I think mine, the game changer for me was when I got Minecraft, and I got it early, like back. I got it in like 1.3, which beta is 1.2. That's the beginning.
Okay.
So I got it in 1.4 or 1.3, somewhere in there, and I've been playing for almost 10 years now, and that was the first game where I really actually experienced like open world gaming,
Yeah.
where you can just go do whatever you want. And to this day, I still play it, whether it be, vanilla, which is just, normal Mojang's Minecraft, or I play, one of the hundreds, if not thousands, of different mod packs and modded different things. Just the freedom to be able to do literally whatever you want, make whatever you want out of very basic, everything's a block, or some variant of a block, whether it be, a rectangle or, stairs or whatever.
Yeah.
That was my game changer. You know, just being able to do anything at all was pretty different because I'd always played like shooters or games where you're on a very specific objective line, like you got to go do this and then you got to go do this and then you got to go kill these people and you got to go, you know, A B C D E, you know, on through the line. So that whole like I can just go build a house and hang out at my house, you know. That sort of stuff has really been I don't know, just eye-opening for me, I guess, because it's always been, you know, you got this thing to do and go do it. Go,
yes.
You know, on to the next thing to go do. So that's always been, and it still is, the game that I go to when I just need to like do something mind-numbing. I just get in Minecraft and go do random stuff. Like I'll just hop into. You know, I have a server that my brother and I and a couple other people play on. I'll just go in and, you know, start building something. Never finish it, or might get halfway through and it's just like meh. So I think your mic's popping a little bit there, Adam.
It's because he's muting because he's eating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're popping pretty hard. Okay. But yeah, that's been my journey through education of video games, I guess. The variance of, you know, going from all shooters are all objective based to now I'm kind of I'll play whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't think of that, because I mean, I said like live, first experience of live was 18, 19, but like really, I guess first like online like interacting was, we used to have like a Skype group and we would play Minecraft. This PC that I have right now that I'm trying to still fix from 8 years ago is the PC I bought to play Minecraft. Like when I was, and Skype, like that should just put you back where, well, like Skype was like the crap.
Yeah,
if you're cool, you're on Skype.
What about you, Eddie? What's your most memorable game been?
I actually have two, and for two different reasons. My first one, it was God of War, the original God of War. I didn't get it at release, but I got it, I think, when God of War 3 came out, and I bought the pack for 1 and 2. Well, the reason it was a game changer for me is because I was a very angry child back in my day. Like, honestly, this may sound weird, but before we knew I had diabetes, I didn't give a flying fuck about anything. And my mom said this the second I got normal on my diabetes and stuff like that, is that I changed as a person. But with God of War 1, that was kind of a place to let me safely release my anger. I mean, because it's a
hack and
slash. That's exactly what it is. So that was my first place to kind of release all the pent-up anger I had.
Right.
So, but then the other game changer I had was multiplayer Call of Duty Ghosts.
Oh.
I finally realized how big of a piece of shit the world can be, especially when it's just a microphone. So, that was my eye-opener of how horrid people can be to people they don't know on the internet. So.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh boy, I remember those type of people from like Halo 3. That was the first game I had for Xbox Live on the 360.
Yeah.
Man, it was.
You know what? Honestly, according to those lobbies, I'm surprised my mother was able to walk every day. Because every other sentence was like, "I'm gonna fuck your mother," and I'm like, "All right, whatever." Fucking weirdo. But yeah, that was my eye opener, just because of how horrific they were. Adam, you alright there, bud?
Yeah, I think something happened to my headset.
Yeah, the weird audio glitch.
Audio glitch, yeah.
Should I get one, Jeremy?
Oh, it's just that brings back so many memories of being.
It does.
14, 15 years old.
That's how you know
I'm
behind. It took me like several seconds.
Oh
But,
man, those were the days.
And I'm sure anybody out there listening or watching who has been through this, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And for those people who don't, there's no other way to describe it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
honestly,
had to live through it. Those were
You had to
crazy
live through
days.
yeah, I mean, people are just horrific on. So
Yeah. No holding back ever.
That didn't happen on the Wii. That didn't happen on the Wii.
It happened on the Wii.
Weird. Like a gap in my childhood. It's just right there.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I'm so sensitive. I wasn't exposed to like the real world until I turned 18, 19.
Oh my goodness.
jeez, oh man. So, all right, boys. The next topic I had picked out for tonight is first jobs. What was you guys' first jobs?
Adam?
First real. Well, okay. Thing about being in this family is my dad owns several businesses, a couple of gas stations / auto body shops, and now a beer distributor. But that was later down the line. So I had a lot of opportunities to go work in which I made money. That I guess, like, you know, really not.
Made money though.
Well, I mean, back then, when I was making, like, minimum wage, I was like, holy crap, that is insane. I was like, that's like $300 every 2 weeks? That's crazy. Nowadays, it's more like, good lord, how do people live like this? But, you know, you start paying for gas, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, technically my first real job was working, you know, like, with my dad, but that was all under the table money, and it wasn't like a real, I guess you couldn't consider me like a real worker at that age, because I was like 16, but
Okay.
my first actual, like, job, like, on paper, is also still for my dad. It's just working at the beer distributor.
Okay.
So, you know, had a solid life with some strong job choices.
Okay. Jeremy?
So I went through a couple different jobs. The most notable, like, first thing I did was when my brother and I were like 14 and 12. We started cutting grass around town and stuff, and you know, we did that for about 5 years until I was in college, like well into college. We still did it every summer and into the fall and stuff, like anything lawn related, really, like cut grass or mulching places or pulling out stumps or
Just landscaping in general.
yeah, just
essentially.
landscaping in general. We did that for a long time, and at one point even it was almost like a small business that we had so many people we had to actually pay somebody else to come in and do stuff with us.
Okay.
Yeah. So at one point it was like we'd always charge like $10 an hour to come in and do stuff, because, you know, you gotta make some money, because our dad had to either drive us around, or we had to, you know, drive our tractor to wherever with a trailer full of all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's good or not, I don't really care. You know, whatever that price was. You know, some people
Yeah.
were like, yeah, some kids, let them go at it. But we had so many jobs. I think one summer we did like 30 or 40 lawns every week, or every other week.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was like 20 one week and then 20 the next. Like, we go do like 3 a day, 5 a day some days, just to get it done. And not all of them were big. It was never, you know, it was never like, oh, we gotta go do 4 different lawns that are all 3 acres apiece. You know, we had one lawn that was like 5 acres that we always had to go do. That, like, that was a whole day by itself. Like, you're gonna be spent, because half of it was push mowing, because it just got too, like, swampy in the one spot for a tractor to ride and mow over it.
Yeah.
So, you know, but there was one summer where we hired 2 other people to help us, and, you know, we'd, like, one of us would go one day with one person and the next with the other person, like my brother and I would split up. So we did that for forever, and then when I was 18, right out of high school, I got a job at the deli in town. Worked there for 2 years or so. So that's my first like real job where I got paid over the table, got paid, minimum wage and whatever.
Okay.
But I still did all the, the lawn mowing in the summers and stuff. So I made, okay enough money. I was never really hurting for too much money.
Yeah.
So, so there was like the two, like, under the table, over the table kind of thing there.
Okay.
And
Nice.
before you go, Eddie, I want to make clear, I was very fortunate and grateful for the opportunity to work like with my family, but I like making jokes like, "Oh, great career choice." but for real, like, it is actually nice, and I am fortunate to like have a fan. Because everybody who would watch is be like, "Oh yeah, because dad owns business, he's rich kids," and it's like, it's not actually like that. First of all, like, think about gas station level of, like, it's not like we own like a chain company of Chuck E. Cheese or something. It's,
I mean, yet. You never know with John.
Yeah.
Never know.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's true. But yeah, Eddie, what'd you do?
My first job was I worked for Kelsey's backcountry service for about 2 weeks until I got fired because the guy I was working with, I went to school with, not gonna call him out yet. But we did a little side job for the neighbors of the place we were at. We were just clearing a little bit of weeds. It wasn't that bad. They gave us $200 for it. I actually went back to take them back that same night because it felt bad. They weren't there, but so essentially it was money laundering. Apparently, I was 17. But, and he knew it wasn't my fault, but he still had to fire both of us because we were both in the same boat. So, that was kind of my first. What's up?
What happened?
So, we were working at a house, we were putting, what is it
Yeah.
called? Myrtle in. It's a horrible plant. Anyway, don't ever put myrtle in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you hate yourself, go for it, but, the neighbors to the house we were doing, they had a little patch of grass they wanted cleared off. It was between the two properties. It wasn't on their property. It wasn't on the property we were working on. Well, we cleared it off. They paid us $200 for it. We didn't tell our boss. I actually went to take the money back that same night, but they weren't there. And then this guy, he's actually the chiropractor in the town I live. You guys know where that's at. He's an asshole. So, but he put up a big stink about it. He said that we destroyed a bunch of shit and it was just not good. And we actually got our last paycheck stipend from us to pay back whatever damages we did, which we didn't do any. He said he had a landscaper to come in and do something, which was a bunch of bullshit. Essentially, what he would do was fuck us. Essentially, that's all he did. But I'm actually kind of glad.
It was like a side thing that, like, they just had you do, like.
It was a side job for not the customer. So, but
Right. I gotcha.
and some reason it was counted as money laundering or something. He was trying to teach us a lesson by giving us a hard time with it and stuff like that. But not the guy, our boss. The guy was just an asshole. So, and he's still an asshole. I see him every once in a while, and I try not to talk. But I am kind of glad, because if I wouldn't have gotten fired there, I probably wouldn't have found a job. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah. But before that, and this wasn't really a job, but it kind of was, I actually had my own contracting business for a summer. I built a lot of sheds, a couple decks, did a lot of siding too. Siding's very easy to do if you guys don't know.
No, it
very
is.
easy
It's
to do.
It's real easy.
It just sucks because you're in the middle of summer and the sun's just beating down on you.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but
I've done some roofing and some siding in my time, and it's not fun.
siding's fine. I hate roofing. I found out I was a ground man. So, oh yeah, I should probably tell that story.
Oh boy.
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
So I did building construction at my Vatech, and every year we actually physically built a house, built it in 2 parts. That way they could get through the door and get sent off. My junior year, I was putting insulation up in the attic, and I was standing on top of the wall. I was actually up in the attic, and I went to step on a board that I thought was a joist. Turns out it was a cross support for a light fixture. Well, I sheared the screws. My head fell 14, my feet fell 8. I missed the pile of insulation by like that much. Ended up spraining my ankle, and ever since that day, I figured out I was a ground man. So I have some gnarly pictures of my foot too.
Man,
Yeah,
that's rough.
yeah.
That's really
Luckily,
rough.
I had my boots tied tight. I think if they would have been any looser than they were, I probably would have snapped my ankle.
Probably.
And the thing that sucked about it, it was right before the lift-a-thon. It was my last year to be in the lift-a-thon.
Oh, I remember that.
And I was
remember
pissed
that.
because I had a very high chance of winning because I was stupid strong for how young I was. But yeah, that was technically my first job and my first experience from a job-like setting that I've never forgotten. So,
Nice.
speaking of things you've learned from your job, I would like to know some skill sets you guys think you've gained from working at your current job. Or any of your previous jobs.
A skill set?
Yeah.
I can toss a pizza, like do the up in the air pizza dough thing.
Okay.
That was fun to learn. But that's been, 6 years since I've done that. Skills, I mean, right now, or before I got laid off, I was a physicist. So, I can tell you a couple dozen things that I've learned how to do at my job. But other than that, nothing that
Okay.
anybody wants to hear about.
Okay. What about you, Adam? You learn anything at your...
I mean, like, how to deal with assholes, how to kick out assholes, how to deal with people who give you wet money, how to deal with people who give you no money, how to deal with people who are like, hey, I'll just bring money later, can I just take the beer? Bye. How to just carry 5 30-packs at a time, how to drop 5 30-packs at a time, how to clean up all the beer.
Sucks is all.
So how to deal with the public is what you
Yeah,
learned.
so yeah, I don't know if I'll cut that. I might leave
How to
that
deal
in.
with this public. I don't know if it's like
Public service
I mean,
jobs are the
everywhere
worst,
has
man.
a different.
They just I worked at a Staples for about 3 months, 4 months,
Something
just
like that.
between graduating college and finding my current job. Man, dealing with old people and computers, because I was
Oh my god!
yeah, I was a computer tech there. Man, was that fun. So
Everybody listening, he was very sarcastic.
it was not fun, not at all. So
Oh.
I had some people one time call in, said, "Hey, I can't get this game on my computer to work. Can I bring it in and have you look at it?" I was like, "Sure, come on in. I'll see what I can do. If not, I'll just take a look at it and tell you what you could probably do." So they came in, and this little old lady, not old, not like granny old, but like 50s or 60s, came in, brought her computer, and she's like, "I put the game in, and I just don't know what's going on." So I open the side of the desktop up. It's like a desktop tower.
Okay.
So I open it up just to see if I can see anything, because there was nothing in the tray, and she said she put the game in. I don't know. I open up the side of the thing. Lo and behold, she had forced that disc so hard into that disk drive that it blew out the back of the disk drive. And there's just a disc lodged in the middle of the case.
Jeez, oh man.
Don't know how.
Did she do that?
Don't know how. Don't know if she put it instead of because the disc tray was up and down, not level.
Okay.
So I don't know if she put it on instead of this being the side that you wanted to put it on, she put it on this side and it slid in with the bottom of the tray. So it would be if this were the top, she slid it in this the disc here underneath the disc tray and it came in. Don't know how, but somehow that disc was in the case rather than in the disc drive.
Jesus.
Yeah, so those are the people you get that don't know anything about computers that come in and ask for computer help. That's just one instance of I don't know, a couple dozen things like that. It was rough for a long time. And I started right before school started again.
Oh, that's right, you did.
In the end of summer, beginning of fall. That was a terrible time to start because, for anyone who doesn't know, most businesses like that, if you work in a tech department, have sales quotas to sell you computers. And not just the computer, all the things that go with it, the protection plans and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it's real fun, especially when you get people coming in. And I had one person come in and buy 5 laptops all at once.
Holy crap! What?
Yeah, 5 laptops because she said she had 3 kids in college and two in high school still, but they all needed computers, so she just bought all of them. I sold her on the protection plan for the kids.
It's probably not that weird.
That total bill was $6,000. Because she bought $800 laptops to begin with, and then it was $250 or $300 for the protection plan. But it was just insane. And if you didn't make a certain percentage of the sales in those protection plans, you got your booty reamed out by your GM, and it wasn't fun.
You got your disk drive readjusted.
Yeah, you got your disk drive readjusted.
Yeah.
Oh man. I never figured out what happened to that lady's disk drive. I'm curious.
Yeah?
Dude, I don't want to know.
Man.
That's
it was
crazy.
It was a brand new desktop too. She said she bought it a couple months ago. So
Jesus. Crazy. I don't even know
it's
how
just
you
wild.
do that.
Just wild.
Eddie, what did you learn other than to not stand on support beams for light fixtures?
Well, for my current job, I've learned how to deal with the public. I am a public worker. I have to deal with my customers, unfortunately.
Yep.
Like I said, I think I said it in episode 1, episode 2. There's a few of my customers that I actually enjoy talking to, but the majority of them if you're one of my customers and you're listening, But another thing I've learned is all the mechanic stuff and engineering that needs to go into certain things. I work for a water company and there's a water infrastructure, and I've learned that engineers are probably some of the dumbest fucking people ever.
Oh yeah.
I have a line running here, I have a line running here, and there's a road going this way. Why don't we just connect it that way? Fuck you, that's why.
Yeah.
But and the thing is always, it's okay. Always double check all of the. That's another thing I've learned from this job, because the guy who was running this before me and my boss, he was an absolute slob and didn't do anything. I probably do more work in one day than he did in 3 months.
Oof.
So it's just But those are the kind of skills I've learned, and then obviously from building construction, I learned how to remodel. I learned how to do all that stuff. So
Yeah. The one thing I learned at my current job that I had no idea how to do was do actual CAD work.
okay,
But not even just like CAD work, like just straight up drafting stuff. I had no idea how to do any of that.
Yeah.
And or the guy who normally did all the drafting and whatnot for, you know, blueprints for all the machines that we use at the plant that I worked at. He was out of the country for a couple of months when I first started. So, and we needed stuff made still, you know, every single day. We needed stuff sent out to a machine shop or to a fabrication place or whatever. So I very quickly learned how to do drafting, like out of nowhere. Like it was like, hey, we need these like blueprints in like 4 hours. Can you draw something up real quick? It was like, sure. And they set me up on a computer, and I'm like, okay, I'll figure this out, I guess. And you know, very quickly had to become proficient in it.
Yeah, just using paint. That's what he used.
No.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, CAD is computer-aided design.
Mm-hmm.
They use it to do blueprints for almost all blueprints.
For the most part, CAD. If you say CAD, usually that means three-dimensional stuff. So you know, pictures of houses as like a 3D model, or you know, whatever. And then drafting is usually the 2D design that gets sent out to either some sort of fabrication place like a steel mill, or a steel shop, or whatever, or to like a machine shop that might make a part, or whatever. Lumber
so would
yard
your guys'
sometimes.
jobs ever come in contact with one another?
Not really. I don't think.
I highly doubt that would ever happen.
Well, my
for designing.
Probably not. Unless my company decided to buy a new building and, you know, move to that new building, we would need to talk to a water company or something like that, because we use a very high amount of water. For anyone who doesn't know, I work at a specialty metal company. Basically, instead of like standard alloys, like say stainless steel, that's a pretty standard alloy. It's steel and usually chrome or aluminum. We make specialty stuff with like certain percentages of like, say, carbon or titanium or whatever the case is, for different companies all over the world. Like we did a couple projects for Ford. We did some projects for Tesla, for NASA, all kinds of different places. You know, we and they're never big runs. They're usually the really small specialty stuff that you only need like a couple 100 pounds of, rather than, you know, big places that might need 10,000 pounds or 40,000 pounds or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I guess there is an instance where we could possibly run into each other, and that would be in the small case that I would need some sort of special fitting for my infrastructure underground and stuff like that. But most times they pretty much mock it up to make it so that you can slap a different fitting, and that's already pre-made, stuff like that. But that would be the one special case.
Be involved in like the initial like piping design or whatever.
Oh no! Well, most water companies now use what's called C900. It's a green, thick-walled plastic pipe. It's actually fairly new. I think the oldest instance of it is like,
excuse me,
it's like 18 to 20 years old. It's new compared to everything else. And before that, it was like ductile iron and stuff like that. And actually, funny enough, the company I work for also manages Greater Johnstown, and they just replaced their last wooden pipe like 2 years ago.
Wooden pipe.
Pipe?
Oh, back in the old days, what else are you gonna use? They didn't have metal. So
It's either wood or it's that old terracotta piping.
Yeah, well, the thing is, with the pressures they have, terracotta would just shatter, so they had to use the wood. Yeah, there used to be a term in the water business called corking. It was literally when you had a leak, that was the size of a hole, they would just literally take a cork
No.
and pound it in, and then seal it.
My God. It's like pirate stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Johnstown, their water company's been in business for, say, 100 years or so, like that.
100.
I mean, maybe 110, something like that.
Wow.
We didn't have metal back then?
Well, they didn't. It wasn't very easy to produce metal.
It wasn't super
In a
easy
pipe.
to. Yeah. The pipes were, you can do steel girders and all that sort of stuff, no problem. But circular things, a little harder.
Woo! That's crazy.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about skills we've learned, is there anything that you guys would like to learn to maybe have as an asset? Because the reason I ask this is my great-grandfather, the last things I remember about my great-grandfather is he always told us it was better to be a jack of all trades rather than a master of one.
Yep.
So, and I've kind of taken that, embraced it. Like, I do woodworking and stuff like that. I do renovation. I dabble in metalworking. I dabble a little bit in sculpting. So, it's good to know a lot of different things. Is there anything you guys specifically would like to know?
Adam?
Just that.
From our jobs right now, or just in life in
Just in
general?
life
in
in
life.
general.
Well, there's stuff I've tried, but really wish I could be good at, like pottery. Pottery is hard as shit. Like, I spent hours and hours doing pottery. Like, my hands were bleeding by the end of it, because, like, I would get so many, I don't even know. But pottery is hard, but if I could do it and had access to, like, the stuff, because you can't just buy a kiln, like, unless you're, like, serious. And you can't just buy a turning table unless you're, like, serious.
Yeah.
Like, you're dropping a couple grand. So I had the opportunity to use them before, and gosh, I wish I could do pottery, because it's awesome. And people make it look so cool and satisfying, but then you try to do it yourself and you want to, like, throw it. But, pottery would be great. Or how to just, be better with the public. Because my dad, who's done it since he was, like, 15 and is now older than 15, I swear he cannot get mad at customers. Like, he is the chillest person ever. Like, I've seen him get mad, but not, like, at a person.
Okay.
Maybe at me if I was, like, throwing rocks down a pipe he just put in the garage or something. But, I don't know. He's so good at dealing with the public. It's, like, annoying when we see it, because it's just like, get mad at him! He's a jerk! But, yeah. I guess two of those things. Dealing with public better and pottery, they go together.
Okay.
I would personally love to learn how to do machining, like metalworking in particular, like lathe work or mill work or whatever. Because I watch quite a few people on YouTube that do that kind of stuff. Like drop a couple of names. Colin Furs does some metalworking kind of stuff.
He is psychotic. Honestly,
he's a nut, but he's great. If anybody doesn't know who he is, go look him up. He's awesome. Every video is like turn it up to 11 all the time. It's kind of nuts.
He made a hover bike, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, he just put out a video I think today. To date this video, he just made a social distancing bike. He made a 2 meter tall, which is 6 feet roughly. 2 meter tall bike so he could be social distanced away from everybody. It was pretty great. I liked it a lot. I watch Adam Savage does a little bit of metalworking sometimes.
Yeah.
This old Tony, if anybody wants some good dad jokes, he's the guy to go to for that one.
Oh.
He's got some good dad jokes and pretty subtle humor, and it's right up my alley, and I like it a lot. And A-Bomb 79, he does machining too, and just watching these guys work it's almost mesmerizing. To see some of the stuff they do, and I've had the experience to go to several machine shops now with my job, and see people work and do it, and if nothing else, I just love to have the skill.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be great. Eddie, what about you, man?
Kind of the same, actually. I mean, blacksmithing, including with the metalworking. I've always loved blacksmithing. I've always watched blacksmiths. Alex Steele is one of my favorite. Pop it off. If you guys don't know who Alex Steele is, he is a British-born blacksmith that now lives in Montana, and I think he's about 24, but he's slowly building his own, and it's awesome to have been watching him this entire time. But he just makes great work. He really does. And I've always kind of wanted to dabble my hand in, so. But metalworking and stuff like that. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, do you watch that show, Forged in Fire, at all?
I would, but I don't have cable, so.
I believe it's either on Netflix or Hulu right now. If you have either of those,
I'll give that a go.
I think it's actually on Hulu specifically, but it's like a competition style forging.
I've seen a lot of the videos on YouTube. I've never seen a full episode because they never post full episodes on YouTube.
Right.
It's always like breakdowns and stuff like.
Yeah, here's a 5-minute summary of what happened.
I actually have some kitchen knives that my mom got me for Christmas this last year that are made from Forged with Fire.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
And they're good knives too.
I'm sure they're so sharp all the time.
Oh yeah.
Top notch knife.
But
Is that his actual last name, Alex Steele?
it actually is.
That's dope as heck.
Yeah, Steele.
Yeah.
He used to
That's
make a
sweet.
joke about it back in his younger days about people like, you changed your last name. He's like, no, my name is actually Steele. So, but yeah, it's kind of cool. But and then this isn't like a skill necessarily, but I think it would be. I've always wanted to learn a different language. I never really took the opportunity in high school. Honestly, in high school I was a slack job. I did what I had to, and that was about it. So, I mean, I took Wood 3 and Wood 4 with both classes having. My Wood 3 class had 6 people in it, and my Wood 4 had 3 people.
Oof.
So, and the teacher was never in there. He would always go to the next teacher over. I mean, there would be times he would take attendance. I'd see him the next day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I'd like to learn French. I don't know why. I've always liked the French language. It's a weird kind of pull. But yeah, I think that's another thing I'd like to learn is some different languages and stuff like that. Because I mean, we are becoming more integrated as a society with the different.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's almost unheard of now that like most of any country is bilingual. Like, like you have to be to communicate with anybody else in the whole world. You know, you have to be at least bilingual in some manner or another. Whether you know a very small amount to get by, like if you go there and you know, I need to find a restroom. Like,
yes,
ask someone.
Wait.
Say I don't speak much of your language, but I can ask this question. Where is it? Please help me.
I mean, the good thing is now that like Google Translate has live trans too,
which is awesome.
It is awesome, but I would like to have that knowledge of knowing a different language.
I took was it 3 years of German in high school, but I really wish I had paid more attention in high school, because my brother, he has a one of his second major, I guess, or something like that in college is to be bilingual. He's taking German as a second language, so he can be a translator, which a lot of companies.
It's a major?
Pay a lot of money.
They pay a lot of money for translator, especially if you can talk, because he's in a science field like I am. If you can talk shop with people in another language, that's so vital and so valuable to a company. It's not even funny.
Not only that, your brother, I love him to death, but he is a bullshitter too. I mean, he can just shoot the shit with the best of them.
Yeah. Speaking of other languages, when my grandfather died a few months ago, probably 6 months ago now, he had a neighbor who is German. He's from Germany, and he moved to America 30-some years ago, or whatever it was, 40 years ago.
Okay.
And his wife's German, too, and they live in America, and we met him for the first time, and my brother and I stood there and had a conversation with him, and my brother was just like da 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 da, just having a conversation with this guy, and it's taken me like like okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Here's my response. Like, it took me a little bit to process and then come up with an answer to talk, but my brother was just like, yeah, just it's like speaking English, It was insane. But I wish I had stuck it out in high school for sure and paid way more attention and knew what I was talking about. Like, I can still speak a little German, but it's super basic. It's nothing like you start, because a lot of their words are like compounds on compound words. So like the word for homework is Hausaufgabe, I believe. It's literally home and schoolwork put together.
I know a tiny bit of German.
Yeah.
Sprechen die Deutsch?
No.
And then the other one I know is Guten Tag.
Guten Tag is
Nine!
is good day.
Too.
Is good day, but they use it as a term for like hello.
Yeah, well, my mom took German. She actually, her name was Dutch. That's what one of her names.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's
she tried to speak a little bit of German around the house. Dad kind of ex-Nate, so.
He's like fighting the war or something.
That war ended a long time ago, buddy.
Yeah, I know, but like, what was everybody got against the Germans?
I don't know, man. It's
half of us are German right now, anyways. So.
yeah. I'm German.
Yeah.
I'm also
I'm
German.
adopted, but
Oh, Adam.
my dad's German, but I'm adopted, so I don't know what I am for real. That's not even just trying to be.
I mean, that's a lot of people. I'm German, English, and Scottish. So like,
Scottish is good.
yeah, that's why my beard's red.
I'm German, Scottish, Irish, Native American. Believe that or not. I mean, you guys seen William before. He's got all the Native American blood, and then also Prussian. There's a little bit of Prussian mixed
That's weird.
too.
It's a weird combo.
It is a weird combo.
Oh.
That's racist. Don't do that.
It's all right. I'm not offended. It's okay.
Someone else might be.
Jeremy,
I
we
was just
can't
asking how you guys.
we can't cater to everyone. I mean, I could
No.
fart right now and someone would be offended.
Yeah, but that's a stereotype.
Like, honestly,
that's not
we did
real.
call out a lot of people this episode that anybody who kind of is like knows where we're from or knows us is gonna be like, hey, I know that person.
Yeah. If you have a problem with it, fight me.
You can't say stuff like that on a podcast.
So, all right, boys. I think we're
Man.
gonna wrap it up with Fat Boy Corner again.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yes!
All right, we're gonna stick with another fast food joint here, and I will let you know this is one of my personal favorites. But Wendy's.
Wendy's. Definitely a Baconator meal with a vanilla
Yes!
Coke.
Vanilla Coke.
Yes!
With a
Okay.
vanilla
Oh my
Coke.
gosh! Yes! Dude! Oh, sorry, continue.
Adam and I are the same person, everybody.
We're literally to the drink, dude! Oh!
Yeah. I always get really sad when I walk into a Wendy's that doesn't have the big multi-flavor machine
Mix-
anymore.
Yeah.
The touchscreen one?
Yeah, the touchscreen one. If they don't have that, like when I went to college, the Wendy's near my college didn't have that, which was baffling in a college town.
Yeah, especially that college town.
Yeah, it's right next to the university too. Like literally, you walk out of the front gates, there's Wendy's, there's Subway, and there's the sandwich shop, like another sandwich shop, like a local one. So like,
I'd be broken fatter than I already am if I went to your college.
it's rough not spending all your money on food all the time at college.
Yes, it is.
Thank God I was broke.
Yeah. So, Adam, what is yours?
Well, I mean, first of all, I never went to college and I still have that problem. But also, I mean, it's literally the exact same as Jeremy. It's like to the drink.
That's great.
I mean, it's truly the best.
Excuse
And
me.
if you don't agree, you're wrong.
Eddie, what's yours, man?
Oh, I guess I'm gonna be wrong then. So
No.
mine is a medium number 6, and for those who don't know the Wendy's menu as well as I do, is a spicy chicken sandwich. With an
That's a
extra
good choice.
sandwich on top of it, and then a Frosty with an extra order of fries and/or nuggets.
Okay.
And the reason
I've
I
dabbled in the spicy chicken.
they have the best spicy.
They
honest.
do. They
They
really,
do.
really do.
They do.
I may be a white boy, but I do like spice.
Spice in your life.
There are actually people out here, and if you're one of these people, I don't care. But there are people out there that think that when you add salt to a meal, it'll make spicy.
Those people.
I mean, technically, it's a spice.
But no, they're like, it's too hot. I can't eat this
No,
because it's too
it's salty.
salt.
Get out of
Exactly.
here. It's salty.
There are actually people like that.
If there are chefs, if somehow a chef or culinary person listens to this, put in the comments like if there's a specific like term or something for that other than just like salty, for just really call these people out. Because we need to stop this. Like, tax, move aside, because we're fixing the spicy salt people first.
Spicy salt people. Oh my gosh.
Oh, this salt is too spicy. No!
Oh my goodness.
So,
Oh,
well, boys,
boy.
we've been rolling for about an hour, a little bit over.
Yep, a little bit
I guess-
over.
Call it.
Okay.
So, you guys have made it this far. We truly do thank you. Thank you for the support on the first 2 videos, and hopefully the many more to come. So,
Yep.
it really means a lot to us. I mean, we're just here shooting this shit, essentially. So, you have any questions or comments, leave a comment on the YouTube video, leave a like, or you can get a hold of us on our social. So, thank you, and have a good night.